Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Are we
Not really, kind of.
I don't even know what I'm doing here. This is the first episode. This is the first time, so this is fun. Let's do this. Let's crush it.
First hosting of a podcast ever.
My gosh, it's live. It's live. Welcome, everybody. This is the first ever Talking Puck podcast. Alec and Brock with you. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 1, season 1, episode 1. This is just the start, as what we've titled it. And we're so excited to bring you guys hockey content and a ton of HyperX times this podcast content. Brock and I have a ton in store for you guys. And we're so excited to start this page up. We were just talking earlier about how we started an Instagram page without a podcast, Brock, and we already have 70 followers, so we have to keep it happy.
I know. It's a lot of pressure to bring to our 70 followers right now. But no, I really, on a real note, we really appreciate it. We think it'll be great for people to learn from and find entertainment from. We got a lot up our sleeve here, and we're really excited for the future.
We want to make this podcast something different that nobody has ever kind of seen. And we want to bring an aspect to the podcasting world that nobody has really brought. So we're going to give it our best shot. And we're going to start off the rip. We're going to say right away, this is going to be the only podcast that we ever do without a guest. This is the Bare Bones podcast. You're getting to learn about Brock and I and about what we came from and what we want to do. After that, you're going to get guest after guest. And we hope to bring the best content. That's
for sure. Yeah, no.
But let's wrap of what we're going to talk about during this podcast, because we got a bunch of stuff to kind of cover in this time frame that we have here. So we're going to dig into Brock's story, his background. We're going to dig into my story a little bit. What is this podcast going to be? We're going to kind of chat about that a little bit as well, and kind of give the viewers a focal point and a vision of what we're going to bring and what can you expect on a bi-weekly or maybe weekly basis. If it's going, it's going.
There's demand, man. If there's demand, we're doing it.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about the spring teams. We're going to talk about our collaboration together. We're going to talk about the grand opening coming up for the facility at HyperX. That's coming up this Sunday. So you're watching this podcast that is 2 days away. So super excited for that. What's to come in the future? We're all about the kids, of course, at HyperX and Talking Puck. And of course, the X Factor, which we're going to get into soon, because that's a super cool little side episode that we're going to get into. So off the rip, Brock, I'm going to give you the floor and tell the viewers about your story and growing up in hockey and what got you to HyperX.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in Dunnville. I played for the rep team, and then I made the jump up to Southern Tier Admirals. So that was the local AAA organization in Niagara, one of the two, but Niagara North was the other one. So I played for Southern Tier for about, I think it was 8 years. And then I made the jump up to Welland Junior B when I was 17. Didn't have a really good year because I broke my shoulder. I was out for 6 months. It was tough, and a lot of teams didn't really want to take that chance on me after, but luckily Sudbury called. I picked up the phone, and they said they were going on a run and they wanted a defenseman. And I was like, you know what, this sounds like the perfect situation. So went up there, and that's what we did, man. We went on a run and we won it all. So won a junior A chip up there, which was really exciting and a really good experience. And then I came back down. I brought it back to Fort Erie, where I met Alec. He was the media guy there. We did an interview or two.
My game's
yeah. And then I went back to Welland at the end there and ended my career in Welland. So kind of bittersweet to make that full circle. And then, when I came back from Sudbury that summer, I actually started Puck Precision Hockey Development with Andrew Remulan, who's going to be a future guest here. And so he was playing for Niagara Ice Dogs at the time. We thought it would be great. And, it had its ups and downs. And near the end of the summer, we were struggling to kind of, see what we wanted to do with this. And we both agreed that we needed to rebrand, and we kind of rebranded it to HyperX Hockey, HyperX Performance. And then we haven't looked back since. And yeah, like you said, now we're opening a performance center on the 1st of February on Sunday, which is just a truly surreal moment. And yeah, I couldn't be happier.
I will say, not many people get to win a championship in the junior hockey stages. It's such a small window of time in your life. It's 5 years if you're lucky to play junior hockey, minus the kind of the AAA and the AA growing up and into that. Like, you get 5 years at a crack at winning a championship. So, I mean, already like bonus there for you in Sudbury. Of course, that was probably pretty cool.
Yeah, it was unreal, man. It was a great experience.
So we got Brock. So now, like, I don't know, same with me. Like, I wasn't much of a hockey player growing up. I was more of a volleyball player, but I was kind of always in the media industry and loved to talk a lot. That was always the quote I would get from a lot of my teachers is like, Alec's a great kid, but like, he won't shut up. So we kind of took it. So we kind of took it into like, like what should I do? What do I want to do with my life? I didn't really know. And then we got into it, and broadcasting kind of hit me second year at Niagara, where I was at school up here. So it just kind of ran. Started with Florida Blackhawks, got into Fort Erie, and now I'm kind of like with the Ice Dogs and doing work. I'm going to St. Andrews College this weekend for McPherson tournament. So super excited about that. But the opportunities have been, I mean, endless. I've been so busy calling hockey games, and I mean, can't tell me that's not the dream to travel around Ontario and eventually travel around the world and call some athletes and call their biggest moments. And I don't know, my goal and my kind of the saying I live by when I call hockey games is I want the people at home to kind of feel like they're at the rink, and I want those moments
Love
to
it.
be special because you
Yeah.
never know. You can be like Brock and have one goal in Fort Erie, and that's all you
Okay,
have.
man.
So,
All right, dude. All right, dude.
so you get the call, right? Like you want to make that moment special. You never know if that's going to be their only time doing it, if that's going to be the only experience they have. So you want to make it special. That's the goal of a broadcaster. So kind of a
Yeah,
cool little
100%.
concept. We got a player, we got a broadcaster, and we're kind of mixing forms in between the two of us. But that was kind of my story, and now here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I love it.
Absolutely. So let's dive into a little bit of what is this podcast going to be? Because I know it's so generalized, Brock. Like talking puck. Oh my gosh, everybody has a podcast about hockey, and everybody has a podcast that they want to give their controversial takes on, and somewhere that they can talk about, whatever. That is not this podcast. This podcast is going to be completely different from a lot of different podcasts, and I'll let Brock kind of step on it. Why is it going to be different? And then I'll kind of fill in there.
Yeah. No, I think we're taking that different approach that's not, not seen at least around here in what I've done on research on. And I think that's connecting the general public. So, you guys that are watching at home, people that put on NHL games at night and they watch these highlights, connecting you guys with your idols, with your heroes, with people that, are in pro hockey. So OHL players, AHL players, hopefully NHL players in the future. And not just the players, we're also going to dive into the coaches, the scouts, the GMs, like all of their kind of mindsets and what we're going to pick their brains on certain questions. Like we have a segment called the X Factor, and we're going to have the X Factor with every single guest, and we want to connect what you guys have, all your questions that you guys have, and we're going to bring them to this podcast to ask these people face to face, and we're going to get you answers right here live. We're gonna you can ask anything from what their take is on development, what road they had to take to get to where they are now, anything, what mindsets they have on certain things. There's just the sky's the limit with this type of thing, and we're really excited to connect you to the pros.
Is the goal of this podcast, and like we said, like this is the intro podcast for us. So we're going to talk a little bit on this one, but after this we're going to be getting guests, hopefully high leverage guests. We already have a great list of potential guests. We've already had some confirmation of some great guests already. So, and that's the big thing too. A lot of people don't know the behind the scenes, the behind the scenes stuff, right? You look at, I don't know, you look at a hockey player, you look at somebody in the OHL, you look at somebody in the AHL, you look at somebody who's in the NHL now, and you look at them and you're like, oh my gosh, like I want to be that guy. Like he must have had it so easy. He must have just like, got there. No, and I'll tell you what, being in the AHL is one of the hardest things I think of all time, because it's like you're almost there. It's like the last 30 seconds of something. It's the longest wait. You're almost there, but you're not there yet, right? So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna pick their brains about, growing up, how they got into the owners, GMs, all the above, anything to do with hockey. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. We're gonna make it fun, and it's going to be super exciting coming up. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of valuable information out there that people don't have knowledge of, and like you said, the highs and lows of being in that position, right? There's so much to dive into, and it's truly exciting. And I know that if I was younger, even now, I would be very curious to hear, and I'm very excited to hear some of these stories from some of these players and coaches and owners and stuff. So yeah, I'm
I
excited.
think we said untapped was the word we kept saying.
That's a good one.
Untapped.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely untapped. So we're going to try and tap it for you and bring it to you
Hmm.
the best we can. Moving on, also exciting because this podcast isn't just going to be focused on that. It's also going to kind of be in collaboration with myself and Brock, and of course, HyperX Hockey and Performance. So big weekend coming up, Brock. Grand opening of the HyperX Performance facility. You kind of talked about it like 2 years ago. You would have never seen this coming, and now you're looking at it, and you got a brand new facility in Niagara Falls, and it is gorgeous in there. Grand opening is on Sunday. Take it away.
Yeah, man, I'm super pumped. Like it's truly surreal walking around, and you and I have been in there. We've walked around, and we can say like it's a prestigious facility, and it's something that Niagara has never really seen before, right? So we're bringing a skating treadmill to Niagara, which is it's been here before, but we're bringing it in a different aspect. We're pairing it with a 2-lane synthetic ice sheet. It's got real board material. It feels like you're just in a rink shooting pucks. And then it has a private performance gym with turf, racks, weights, anything, bands, sleds, like the whole shebang, I like to say. And then we got a pro shop with skate sharpening, merch, tape, laces, anything you want there. So I mean, yeah, we try to tie it all in together and make it hockey paradise. And yeah, I think kids will really, really enjoy this place. They already have. We've had some exclusive members in there this week, and the reviews are awesome. So that's really good to see that kids are enjoying it, because I know as a kid I would love that. Love to have that at my beck and call. So I mean, I think that having this facility now will help the development in Niagara, make a lot of strides in the right direction.
Absolutely, and the more and the bigger it gets, the more out there we get, the more excited we are because partnerships, sponsorships, and things that we're able to bring. I know you and I were talking earlier today about one that you're super excited about that you just heard about today. So that's also coming to HyperX soon. So a lot of exciting things coming. Just the beginning for HyperX. Now you and I together, it was kind of random. I just kind of reached out on a whim, and we kind of all of a sudden, like, bang, 2 weeks in, and we're starting a podcast, and we're doing all this great media content together, because that's something that I think is so hard to find, somebody who kind of has the same aspirations, the same strides, the same goals as you. And I think the two of us, we kind of laugh a little bit because we both said, like, we're kind of both undiagnosed super hyper, like we're just wound
Yeah,
to the top, right? So
I like that word. I like that word. I like the hyper.
absolutely, hyper, and we'll get into that in a second, but our collaboration is super fun because what we wanna do is, again, we wanna bring something to the Niagara region that has never been seen before. We want kids to wanna develop and wanna play for our teams, and that brings us into our next segment is spring teams. We're super
Oh yeah,
excited in May, 3 weekends,
yeah,
and the whole start of us getting together, Brock, was talking about the spring teams and how can we make it a better experience for the kids, because at the end of the day, it's the kids that we want to succeed. It's the kids that we want to develop and grow into not only good hockey players but great young people. And I think at the end of the day, that's the bigger thing than the hockey part of it. So we were like, man, like, why aren't we bringing media with our hockey teams? Why aren't we doing interviews? Why aren't we doing headshots? Why aren't we making it like the most professional thing ever? Because what kid doesn't want to go online, and what kid doesn't want to go to hockey and then all of a sudden see themselves doing an interview, see themselves on videotape, see themselves, all over the place. It's positivity, it's growth, and that's why we originally partnered together, was to bring that, and super exciting things to come for the spring teams.
yeah, for sure. Like when you reached out, I knew it was going to be a good thing. I knew you before, but I know the energy you come with. I know that drive that you have to bring positivity to people's lives, and you just what, pairing that with my work ethic as well. Like I think this is going to be really, really good, and I'm really excited that you did reach out, because what other spring team has interviews, headshots, video reviews, stats? Like that's how we're going to make it different, right? We're really going to take that to our spring teams, and I hope that these kids can really have an enjoyable May, and enjoyable spring season. And it makes just more kids want to come play for that HyperX logo on their chest, because we want to build a really, really good community here. And I think this is a really good step in the right direction.
Community is the key word there too. Build the community, because I mean, I'll let you kind of explain on this a little bit more, but like, we know the Torontos out there. We kind of know the teams that they're packed full, a lot of kids, and kind of want to get rid of the kind of mentality that, oh, you have to go to Toronto to have elite spring hockey. You have to go somewhere else to have an elite experience in spring hockey. No, no more. We want to bring that to Niagara.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like when I was younger and I was playing for Southern Tier, it was let's go to the GTHL and play on the Marlies or Don Mills or something like that. And I just think I just want to I don't want that anymore. I know the open borders makes it easier now as well. I don't want that. I want there to be elite hockey players in Niagara. I want them to stay in Niagara, and I want them to take Toronto teams by storm. And that's kind of my end goal. I want to, create obviously a really good community, but I want to create programs in Niagara and facilities in Niagara that will help breed these elite athletes that can take on these Toronto teams, and start shifting the mindset that you have to go somewhere else to be better. I think you can get better in Niagara, and I think that this facility is just one step closer to that.
We're trying to get there, so fingers
Hmm.
crossed. And
Yeah.
baby steps right now, baby steps, and eventually we'll get there. But again, like we want to preach the best atmosphere, the most positivity, and the best time ever being a part of a HyperX team. And
Yeah.
that's where our collaboration is really going to bloom. So look forward to that in May. And of course, we'll be rolling out some announcements. And of course, I've seen the jerseys; they look unreal.
They're so sick.
We're gonna make it like our goal is to make it like the pros, right? You want to come in, the kids want to have a water bottle, the kids want to have a sick jersey to put on. They want to be interviewed in front of a backdrop like the pros. Um, they're our next generation, right? So let's build it up and let's hype it up. Let's get into the naming, Brock, because you and I had a chuckle over this behind the scenes today.
Yeah.
HyperX Hockey. It wasn't always HyperX Hockey, but it's funny how the name came of. Shout out to your mom.
Yeah, shout out to my mom here. So, it was the summer, obviously, that I started Puck Precision, and it was around August where Andrew and I kind of decided that it did need a little bit of a rebrand, a freshen up, new colors, new name. And picking a name like we talked about this earlier, it's not easy and it's got to be right. It's not easy, and you need to find the name that fits to you and fits your brand that you want to build and your community that you want to build. And I was on phone with my mom, and I'm just calling her, and I'm like, "Mom, I can't find a name," and I'm like pacing, and I'm speaking a million miles an hour. You just got to stop being so hyper. And then that light bulb went off, man. I was like, hyper.
Thing.
I like that. I like that. I'm like, hyper hockey. And I'm like, okay, what blends hyper and hockey together? An X. So HyperX hockey rolls off the tongue. And I probably said it a million times now that it's kind of getting it's kind of getting repetitive in my head. But you know what? It does sound good, and I'm happy about that.
And HyperX Hockey was born kind of like this podcast to talk and puck, just kind of
Yeah,
wears off the tongue. And you and I looked at each other like, that's the one right there. Because
that's
we
the
probably
one.
went
Oh yeah.
through, I don't know, a lot of different ones. We're like, I don't know. Bang, this is the one right here. So um, it's unreal. It's something that this Niagara region hasn't seen. And like, this is just the kind of the tip of the iceberg for HyperX X Hockey. Like, media wise, I think that's like one of the most underutilized strategies right now.
Hmm.
Everyone's like, "Oh, you got to pay for this." You got the promotion, the advertising. If you do it right, it's free. It's all free for advertising, different brands and things like that. So social media is king nowadays, right? This day and age. So you got to take
Yeah.
advantage of it. And I mean, that's what this podcast with HyperX is going to try to do with Alec Murray Media. Between all of us, that's what we're going to try to do: grow the brand of hockey, grow the brand of hockey in Niagara, and then blossom from there. I think that's our end goal.
Yeah, no, yeah, I really agree. And I think, we talk about the marketing and everything. I walk around a rink and I see a kid with a HyperX hoodie on or HyperX hat on. And it's just, it just makes me feel super good about, what we're building because these kids, we built a brand where these kids want to represent. And that means something to me. And I'll let you you told me a story behind the scenes a little
Yeah,
bit about a
that
couple
was
days ago. So
cool.
I'll let you tell yeah.
I was at the Ice Dog. I was calling the Ice Dogs game on Sunday afternoon in an absolute snowstorm. It took me an hour to get to the rink. My house was like 25 minutes from the rink. Took me an hour to get to the rink, and in between the first and second intermission, or first and second period in the intermission, I went to grab a coffee, and I ran into this kid who was wearing a HyperX hat. And it was kind of cool because he knew who I was, which is crazy because we haven't really been
No.
associated that long, maybe a couple of weeks since we kind of made that collaboration announcement. But he came up and he's like, "Hey man, like when's the first podcast episode dropping?" And I was like, "Dude, like we don't even have a podcast yet. We're on an Instagram.
No.
I think
Yeah.
we made the Instagram that morning, or I think the night before. So it hadn't
I
been like
love it, man.
24, 48 hours, and people are already asking the questions. So again, like, and that's what makes the day for you, right? You walking around a hockey rink, you walking into the store, you walking just downtown or whatever, going out for dinner, and you see like, oh, these kids come to me for training, or this kid's excited about the podcast, or these kids are wearing the merch. Like merch is the huge thing, and I know you and I have had conversations backstage about like the merch and the ideas and everything that we have for it.
Oh yeah.
Merch is king, man, and we're super excited for it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that Talking Puck logo is gonna look great on hats and shirts and stuff, man. I think that we picked a good name and a good logo to market out here, and I think that that's our whole goal, right? We want to see that around as well because we want people to be, tuning in and really enjoying what we're putting out there. That they want to represent the brand that we're building as well.
Absolutely, and it means so much to see again like kids walking around in a HyperX hat. Like it might
Yeah, for sure.
or even the kids bugging their parents at the gate or at the little store there you have at the HyperX like
Yeah,
the HyperX performance there. Oh, can I get a sweater? Can I get a hat?
I know. Yeah.
Sure, right? Like,
Sure. Yeah, they're gonna give in, right?
exactly. Eventually they're gonna give in. Eventually they're gonna give in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
the future and what's to come. We have big plans, and I don't think either of us are scared of failing. That's why we did this, and that's why we've kind of dove in head first.
No, yeah, I think you perform your best when your back's against the wall, and I think
Absolutely.
I found myself in that situation when puck precision was kind of stagnant, I would say, and I made that switch to HyperX hockey, and I think that with this podcast, we're starting fresh, we're starting new, we're new to it, but you and I share that mentality. We share that our back's against the wall right now. We're going at it. We're going full speed at it. We're bringing everything to you guys. We're gonna do it right. We're gonna make it good for you guys. We're gonna make it educational, and yeah, I'm really excited about the future, man.
This is going to be the most labor intensive one episode of a flipping podcast of all time.
Like, I know. You can
Because
tell them about the story if you want.
the day we had Brock was absolutely insane because technology would not work. We met
No.
up, we did it, we took time out of our days. You were booked up all day. I had stuff going on
Yeah.
this afternoon. We did
Yeah.
it in the morning. It didn't really work out. The editing part didn't export properly, and we were kind of like, oh my god, I got to be up at 6 in the morning tomorrow to go to Aurora for a 9 o'clock game. You got to be up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
But we're like, we got it. Like, that's where the failing starts, was when
Mhm.
excuses come into the factor, right? We could have totally been like, oh, we'll just push it back. But like, that's not what we want to do. We want to every 2 weeks or maybe more. We'll see. We're going to start it with every 2 weeks, every 14 days. We're going to release a new episode on Friday. But we wanted to be there, get this episode out. So yeah, we're right up against the clock for tomorrow, but we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it out, and we're gonna get it good quality out there for our viewers. And I think that's such a big kind of stride because, and again, like yeah, things didn't work out this morning for us, but again, like we were talking this afternoon and just before we got on here, Brock, and the ideas that came to us in the last 7 hours that we can add to this one now to be officially the first podcast is great because we had a couple of great ideas and a couple of great ads to this the
I think everything happens for a reason, right? Like I also live by that, and I think that it was unfortunate that we had our 45-minute episode today that we didn't get to
yeah.
we didn't get to use. It was good to test, and I think that does kind of show who we are, right? We could have just said we're gonna release it sometime on the weekend when we have time, but this is something we want to get to you guys, and this is something that we want to get rolling because we think we're gonna provide that tremendous value to you guys. We want to support everyone that's followed us. Like we have 70 followers without a
No
podcast,
podcasts.
with no podcast. They just like the logo, I guess. 70 people like the logo, but no. In all seriousness, here, I hope that number does grow because I want to see us form that community like HyperX kind of is, and I want to kind of collab with Talk and Puck and kind of collab communities and just make one big really good community, I guess you could say. Just keep using that word, but it's true. It's a good word, and I think that's what you got to look for. You got to have good people that are entertained, that are educated, and educational people that are on the pod. Like there's just so much we can do with this, and I'm
Absolutely. The limit's untapped for this
Mhm.
podcast. And I think that's what excites us both and why we're so like driven to get this episode and get these episodes out to you. Because of that and what it could become and what we want to bring to the youth and the people growing up and growing into it that kind of idolize these people that we're gonna have on as guests, right? Like not every
Mhm.
day do you get to talk or to be engage with a pro level player or somebody who you look up to or somebody that you pay to go watch, right?
Mhm.
So that's what we envision and that's what we want to bring to the screen and to the Instagram for you guys, for the fans, I guess we could call it the HyperX fans or the
Like
Talking
Brex,
Puck
man.
fans.
I know if I was a kid when I was younger, I had a lot of questions for some guys that are in the spots that I wanted to be in, and it's good that we can hopefully connect, and for parents as well, right? To help guide their children if they have any questions. We just want to provide that educational mix of entertainment and education to people that are watching worldwide, and I think connecting the general public with these players and coaches and people will be of huge benefit for everyone.
And I think we've kind of preached like a new era of development for
Yes.
hockey and a new era of development for us in the podcast industry now. I guess we can call ourselves, I guess anybody can throw a camera in front of them and call themselves podcasters, but
Yeah.
we want to be more than that, Brock.
Yeah, I
We
know.
want to,
I got a joke. We started the podcast, and I had a couple buddies say anyone can start a podcast now, eh? And they were just joking with me, but
yeah,
it is true. Like anyone can set up a camera and talk, but there's levels to this, and I do agree. And I think with the knowledge that you have and the connections that you have mixed with my knowledge and connections, I think we build something super special that people haven't really seen. Like you said, that new era of podcasting. There's a lot of podcasts out there, and all respect to each and every one of them. But we do want to be different, and we will be different. And I'm confident in saying that because I think, taking this new approach to this podcasting and marketing, kind of, it's gonna be something truly new and something you guys haven't really seen before, which is good.
I want to look back at this first episode in 2 years and be like, what the absolute were we doing?
Yeah, I know. We're gonna be like, dude, what? We didn't know what we were talking about.
Like no idea, and it wasn't supposed to be here, and I'm in my basement, you're in your living room doing whatever. Like it's just, we're gonna make it work, right? We're gonna make it work with what we have, and as we go along, hopefully we can bring up that content, bring up the value, and kind of bring up everything for people, because at the end of the day, that's what it's for. It's not for us. It's for you guys. It's for you guys to be able to brains of athletes, pick brains of owners, see how people think the game. Because I tell you what, everybody thinks the game differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game differently than you think the game. I can go up to the
Mm-hmm.
broadcast booth and talk about how Brockhauser sucks, or he can't skate, or why did he make that pass.
Mm-hmm.
You play the game differently and you train the game differently than what I know. And that's the beauty of what I think hockey is. And it goes back to the whole thing, Brock. Like, anybody can start a hockey podcast. Everybody can start a hockey podcast. I could put my phone in front of me right now and videotape myself talking about, I don't know, the Olympics coming up, right?
Yeah.
Again, like, what makes it different than every other podcast? And I think that's what we had to work on the most, was how can we make Talking Puck different than every other hockey podcast? And how can we kind of gear to our viewership that people are going to be like, oh, I really want that episode to come out. I can't wait for that episode to come out.
Yeah, I just think it's the perspectives that we can touch on. Like you said, there's so many different people out there that think the game in so many different ways. Why don't we tap into that, right? We use this phrase untapped. There's no reason why we can't tap into that with our connections. And that list that we put together, it's very exciting with some of those names, because those are, I already know those are some players and coaches and owners that have so much good insight in the game of hockey, on the ice, behind the scenes, what goes on, what they look for. I just think there's so many things we can dive into, and that's exciting me for sure.
Absolutely. So right now, I'm going to give a quick plug. Make sure to follow our social medias, because we did just start all of our social medias. Our Instagram has a little bit of a head start on everything else. So at Talk and Puck Pod is our Instagram handle. Also our TikTok handle, and then our email too. We just set that up. So if you guys have any questions, or if somebody sees us and you want to be a guest on the podcast, or you want to make an appearance, shoot us an email at talkandpuckpod@gmail.com. We'll throw it down below here along the bar, so you guys can have easy access to that. We'll put a link in the bio as well on the YouTube if you're watching this podcast that way. But tons of ways that you can reach out to us, and I mean, even just shoot us a DM on our private accounts, because that's kind of how we all started, right, Brock? Like,
Yeah.
I kind of looked. I think our first meeting, I was kind of like, well, I don't know, you got a couple thousand followers, and I got 1,800 followers, right? Like, everybody likes hockey that follows us. So if we can combine that and make it one great thing, I think it's not going to fail. And that's what we keep telling ourselves. We're not going to fail at this, or else we wouldn't be recording a podcast this late at night when we got to be up early in the morning to go do stuff.
Failure isn't an option. I think we can get knocked down a little bit, but like you said, I think between you and I, we can get back up stronger, and that's kind of my motivation for this. I'm really motivated to make this work, because there's so much valuable information out there that I want to bring to you guys.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about our new segment, because we're super excited.
Yeah.
Every podcast has to have a special segment, and what makes them unique. This one makes us super unique, and we're super excited to announce the X Factor segment coming to the podcast and HyperX. It works with the logo, it works with the HyperX, and it works with what we want to do and what we want to bring to our podcast. So this is going to be a super cool opportunity, and a super great opportunity for fans, kids, parents to every week before our podcast. So when we announce our guests coming on, we'll probably drop that announcement the day before. So when that post goes up, whoever's on tomorrow's episode, you want to drop in those questions and kind of ask any questions that you may have. It'll be on the Instagram story, so stay tuned with that Instagram story. And any questions you have for that athlete, any questions you have for whoever's coming up on the podcast, type it in the Instagram, DM it to us, whatever works best for you. And we want to relay those questions directly to the player, the owner, the GM, the scout, the whoever we have on, and give them an opportunity to answer your question straight up. And again, like, we want to be that bridge, basically, Brock, between the fans and the player. And I think that's what's going to make us super unique.
Yeah, no, I'm really pumped for this. It's kind of we're just tying it all together, right? The X factor. It's how we're gonna take you guys and kind of get your questions in front of these players and coaches. And we're really pumped and we're really excited to have our first ever one on our first ever pod here. So we did something a little bit different. We put an Instagram story out just for Alec and I. And we got a couple questions submitted to us. So how do you want to do this? You want me to read the first one and then you got the next ones?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. You whip
Okay,
off the
I'll
first
pull
one.
up
So,
the.
so for example, quickly, when this is going on, we're going to read the questions directly from whoever our guest is, and they're going to answer it. They're going to rip it off, and we're just going to keep ripping questions to them. Our best questions that we get, if we get too many, we'll kind of filter them out. So make sure you think of a quality question, I would say, to ask them. And if we feel it's, a question that could be answered or needs to be answered, we're going to ask them. And I think that's really cool to have that ability and have that opportunity. So
Yeah, no,
let's fire
yeah.
away with the X Factor segment.
All right. So our first ever X Factor question comes from the Instagram here. So it is thoughts on the current state of minor and junior hockey in Ontario and Canada overall. So I'll let you start with that and then I'll probably finish on that.
Sweet. So we're not going to put a limit to the questions either. This can be about anything you
Mhm.
want to know. It doesn't
Yep.
have to be HyperX related. It doesn't have to be Alec Murray Media related. It doesn't have to be, for all I care, it doesn't have to be hockey related. If you want to
Mhm.
ask a question, fire away. So, I mean, this is a great question. And again, like this is a great first question that we got on the Instagram story, Brock. I, it's such a deep question because we said you and I both before we got on here, we're like, we could talk about hours for this alone.
No, 100%.
But I mean, I don't know. It's all about how you look at it. I think the rule changes coming into effect, obviously in the NCAA, wettens down or dampens down the talent that you get in the Western Hockey League and the OHL and the QMJHL. But it's a trickling effect, right? Because as those roster spots open, and it's another opportunity for players who wouldn't get that opportunity if this wasn't a rule, right? So you're getting kids from each level kind of going up a level and kind of watering down the level below. And I think the USHL, which obviously is in Canada, I think they've taken the biggest hit out of that whole kind of rule change. I don't mind it, honestly. I think if we look at a lot of players, like, I don't know, Gavin McKenna, for example, right? I mean, everybody's hating on this kid and being like, oh, he's going to go fourth overall. I think he was like ranked fourth overall in
Mhm.
I'm like, there's no way any team's passing on him. It's insane to think that he's playing with 24 to 25-year-old players as a 16 or 17-year-old, and he's almost or over a point per game. And I think colleges and universities are a lot more looking for those overage kids where they can, pick a Dylan Edwards and be like, you're going to play here for 5 years, right? Gone are the days of schools and universities looking for the elite 16-year-old, the kid freshly coming out of AAA, right? Who's been in the OHL for, well, you couldn't be in the OHL before that, but the kid who kind of played at private school. Let's plug a St. Andrews College or Shattuck St. Mary's in there, for example, right? It just kind of eliminates that. So I think that's I think that's really intriguing. Also, we can get into the kind of the borders opening up. And that is also a big, I don't know if you want to say issue or it's just these players are getting more opportunities to be better. And I know Niagara, we have so many teams. There's so many. I think Niagara's one of the most watered down kind of, I don't want to use watered down, but it's one of the most, there's six GOHL teams within 20 minutes or half an hour, right? There's STA, there's
Niagara
oh,
North.
Niagara North, that's the other one, Niagara North, right? Halton is nearby. So like there's so many teams in a close proximity. I think it's great for the kids, right? You get a taste of junior hockey early on in that sense, and they can kind of go out and explore a billet early, a different school early, how everything's going to work. So I think it prepares them a little bit more for the final. The other side of this is you get loaded teams, right?
Mhm.
If I'm a kid
Mhm.
and I'm an elite hockey player and I have all these different options, I want to go play for a Don Mills because they win, right? And I think the teams that are going to struggle, the Huron Perths, there's
Mhm.
Haltons, those are the teams that are going to struggle a little bit more because they're going to lose players to the JRCs, the Don Mills, right? So I think that's the struggle. You can look at it both ways, but I think I don't know. Overall, I think it's at a good point. It's at a really good point. You got the Greater Ontario Hockey League partnering with the OHL as a development league. I mean, it's going to be a ton of development and ton of skill on show this weekend at St. Andrews
Mhm.
College. Kids are going to be there that have played in the World Juniors this year. Kids are going to be there that have drafted the OHL. Kids are going to be there that have committed D1. So a great opportunity there. All around, the OJHL is a great place to play. Junior A across Canada, I think, is obviously we have some weaker spots, but I mean, out west is great hockey. I don't know if you want to mention the BCHL or not, but again, like it's a choice league for somebody to go and be like, well, I didn't really pan out in the OHL, but I have an opportunity to go here and get a D1. Right. So, man, there's so many options, but I think that's what the best part of it is. There's going to be an option and there's always a spot for somebody to go play. And I think
for sure.
that's what's best about it. I could keep going on, but I'll kind of leave it at that. I like where it's at because the talent in the Ontario Hockey League, we just saw in this past draft, how many Ontario Hockey League players got taken in the first round? It was almost a record, I think. So again, still a really high level league. You can go play in the NCAA. Kids are going to go play in the AHL next year with that new rule coming in effect. So it's going to open up more spots on those teams, right? So opportunity is endless, I would say,
for sure.
For kids in Ontario and Canada overall.
Oh yeah, I really agree. I honestly, I'll leave the junior with that. I think I agree with that as well. I think the talent, it opens up more opportunity for kids, to go play NCAA, and then when they leave, it leaves another opportunity for a kid to develop in the Ontario Hockey League, which is the end goal of the Ontario Hockey League, right? They want to develop into pro athletes. No, I do think it's a good move there, and I was happy to see that. I'll dive more into the minor hockey kind of question, part of the question there. Since I'm like working and heavily involved with the minor hockey players with HyperX Hockey, I think it has its pros and cons like everything else. The open borders, yes, it does create a super team. It does create that mindset of, if you're really good, you get called from, a Vaughan Kings and you're going to go play there. And it's unfortunate for the teams that do play in Niagara. And that's kind of where I had that drive to create that facility that keeps kids in Niagara and keeps starting to, load up the teams over here. I think with that comes that toxic mindset between some parents where they do pack up and leave, or they're harsh on other kids because they don't play in Toronto. I've seen it firsthand. I don't like that part of it. I think that hockey, I want to keep the sport happy. I want to keep people nice to each other as much as it is a competitive game on the ice. I don't think there's space for parents yelling at each other in an 8-year-old hockey game. I just don't think there's no. And as a development coach, I look at two teams playing each other and, I have clients on either side and I just want to see them do well. You know what I mean? So minor hockey's, it's kind of developing a little bit of that toxic mentality within, the parents and some of the kids even now. And I don't know. I want to see it take an uphill climb in the way of how people interact with each other. I think having clever at a young age for full ice games is good for players' development. I do agree. I like the full ice. I don't know how OMHA is going to come back at the full ice. There's speculations all over the place there as well. I don't care what league really does it. I just think that full ice when you're young is beneficial for athletes to develop. So if they can figure that out within the Niagara region, I think that'll be very beneficial for the state of minor hockey. And just keeping that positive mindset, around the rink, in and out of the rink, and when you're at the, development skates and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think there needs to be an uphill climb with minor hockey in Canada. I think it's kind of was at that standstill when they started going with the half ice and stuff. But the open borders has its pros and cons, and I think they'll start to figure it out soon, and it'll go on an uphill climb.
Well, I think the open borders thing was happening before we even knew it, right? There was just ways around it. Kids were finding ways to kind of
you hear
way
stories
around
all the
it
time.
and go play for different teams in different areas. Yeah, look at a Matty Schaefer. That kid didn't go play with Don Mills, and he was just another Don Mills kid, right? And that's no diss to Don Mills because they're an outstanding
Great
program, great organization. They win every year. Every year you look at the AAA, the standings, they're going to be right there. They're going to be right there till the end always. Again, like look how much a Matthew Schaefer meant to a Halton team. Wasn't just mixed in, but look how big he was. And I think that too, going to those small arenas, you see how much those guys who panned out, those guys who run play pro, those guys who know the NHL, how much they move to those small market organizations instead of just going to band on with the super teams, if that's what kind of you want to go call them.
Yeah, no, I think the top players in these small towns, like that's where you want to be if you're an elite player, in my opinion. You want to be on a team where, you can lead the charge and I know if I was in that position, I can't speak for it because I never got the opportunity, but I think I would want to be a leader on a team and try and, lead my team to success against these quote unquote super teams. I think that's what I'm trying to do now from an outside perspective, being a coach, right? I want to coach kids in the region. I love coaching all levels and in ages. But for the elite of the elite, where it's time to dial in and start, fighting back against these Toronto teams and these super teams.
Absolutely. Let's go on to the next question because this one's more geared towards you. And I don't know if it was kind of like a smart, they were trying to be smart with the
I
question,
don't
or
know.
if they were trying to be funny enough, but it's what makes HyperX special? That was
Yeah,
the question. So I don't know if I'm going to gear it towards like why would I choose HyperX over a different thing, or what kind of makes you guys different than other people?
yeah. I'll keep it short at the start. I think it's the people, it's the product, it's the community. I really try to, and I've had this question before, and it's a good one. It's a really good one, and it makes sense. No disrespect to any other hockey school. I think that anyone who is trying to help kids become better at the sport, I have respect for them 100%. But I think I have a different approach on it. And being a younger kid, I can relate to the kids more, and I think that's something that's huge for the brand and huge for the clients. And providing that modern style teaching. I've been in the game. I haven't been out of it for a while, right? I haven't been out of it like I've been playing ever up till 2 months ago. And so I've been in these situations. I see how it is. I watch hockey all the time. I still watch the NHL. And I try and provide that knowledge that I have, that modern knowledge of being fresh out of it, to these clients and these kids that are wondering what skills they need to take that next step. You know what I mean? I myself did not make the NHL, but I have studied NHL players and studied what they've done and what it takes and what they do to get to that next level. So as much as we are the bridge to the general public to the NHL players off the ice, I feel like HyperX might be tying that in on the ice, right? And we're trying to create that community of people that you can come to HyperX and you're getting a really good skate, you're getting attention to detail on the skills, and you're getting that community based feeling. You walk into that facility, and you even said it yourself. You walk into that facility and it just feels different. It feels good. It feels fresh. It's prestigious. And I think that's what makes us different. I think we have a dedication to not fail like this podcast. We have a dedication to provide the best product, the best people, the best services to the people of Niagara. And I think that's what separates us. I think I put in consistent 14-hour days because I love this thing and I won't stop. And I do that for the people that are watching the video, and I do that for the people that I train with. I could be on my ninth hour on the ice that day, and I'm still going to try my hardest for that kid because I know they're looking up to me and they're looking at me for guidance. And I think that's what makes me different. I won't stop. I'm hungry. I'm going for it. And I'm taking everyone with me.
And I think that's where, and I can kind of touch on that a little bit, not as much in depth, but when I first walked in there, it was kind of a family environment, right? Everybody's having a good time, but they're also learning. Everybody's
Yep.
learning. Everybody's getting taught. Instructors that you guys had there, all people who know the game of hockey, whether that's AAA players, whether that's skills coaches, whether that's junior B players, whether that's OHL level players. It doesn't really matter. Everybody has their own skill set. Everybody thinks the game different. So to get a version of somebody else's game to kind of help you, I think everybody can teach you something different that can benefit you as a hockey player. And as a broadcaster, that's the same with me. I try to learn from every professional broadcaster that I look up to. If I don't learn one thing from them, talking to them, I've failed. I've failed. Same with when I'm interviewing. When I'm interviewing a player, when I'm interviewing, whoever, if I don't learn one thing and make a connection with that player, I've failed. Right? If I don't get that follow from Instagram after I've interviewed that player, if I don't have a conversation with them after, I've failed as an interviewer.
Mhm.
Right? So I think that kind of honestly tops it off because it was a great feeling. I remember that first day, we just had fun, right? We were
Yeah,
shooting
man.
content, kids were having a good time, but they were also learning. There's a time to rock in, and there's a time
Yeah,
to
for
have
sure.
fun, and we kind of find a great middle ground with that. On HyperX, and yeah, that was my kind of that's my kind of overview of it from being there for a couple of weeks now. It's been super super fun. Let's get into our final question here, and then we're gonna wrap this bad boy up because we gotta get to bed and we gotta get this bad boy out for you
Yeah,
guys
we do. We
tomorrow.
do. We do. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
What makes this podcast different? I think we already touched on it, Brock. I'll
Yeah, we
I'll let
did.
you have the first crack at it, and then I'll finish it
Yeah.
up and we'll wrap up here.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we obviously did touch on it a little bit, but to get more in depth, I think, there's a certain level. of expertise that we have in our fields. You have the connections, you have the broadcasting experience, you have the hockey knowledge. I have the on ice knowledge, right? I have the training knowledge. And I think to be able to, bring that entertainment to the people that are sitting watching this video, and even if there's, we've mentioned this before, even if there's 10 people watching this and one person feels like they learned something, that's a success to us. So, this podcast is different because we're not doing it for clicks. We're doing it for inspiration. We're doing it for lives changed. You know what I mean? There's not, it would be nice to have 500 questions and we're sorting through them and picking out the best ones for our pro athletes or coaches coming on. But even if there's one, it shows that someone's engaged, someone cares. And I think that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build that community-based feeling where everyone's involved. Everyone is involved. It's not just Alec Murray and Brock Hauser talking on the screen. It's your questions being brought to this stage. So everybody's involved. We care about you guys. We care about our guests. We care about everything. And I think that it's what makes us different.
Absolutely. And again, like you mentioned it earlier too, like failing was not an option for us, right? Like this is going to be, however many views this podcast gets, this is going to be the most labor-intensive bit of podcasting for one 45-minute episode of all time. And I hope we never have to put that much work into another podcast. But again, like days like that are going to happen, right? That's just the trick of the trade. You could just quit and be like, nah, you know what? We're not going to do this. This is way too hard. We don't have this, so we can't do it. Anybody can podcast nowadays. That's how we want to make it different. We want to get you guys involved, and I think it speaks volumes. Again, we don't even have an episode. We have one graphic with the couch that unfortunately didn't make its debut today.
No, I wish, man. Come on, that couch is electric.
The couch that we won't name because I don't think we can say it on here, but Nick Facero came up with a great name for it.
Yeah, shout out.
It's pretty funny, but it didn't make its debut. It was supposed to. It did not. But it's just, I think it just speaks volumes about how it kind of makes this atmosphere and makes this podcast different for everybody and for the viewers that are gonna hopefully tune in.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. I think it's different, and I think they'll catch on quick.
Absolutely. So in 2 weeks, this episode will drop on Friday. That's the 30th, which is tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
We're gonna not try and keep it this much up against the wall from now on out.
No.
But in 2 weeks, there will be a guest on. We do have a pretty exciting guest. He is from the Ontario Hockey League, which is super exciting. We have a lot of connections through that and through him, so we found it fitting that he would be our first guest. So the first opportunity to ask questions will be to that guest who is in the Ontario Hockey League next week. Stay tuned to our social medias. Stay tuned to our platforms for the clips, the highlights, just, fun stuff, because that's what we want to keep it light and fun on the social media to promote the podcast. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. And then again, the clips are going to be on Instagram and sprinkled in there as well. So 2 weeks from now, Ontario Hockey League guest, super excited to have him. Socials will be updated with that. And you'll be able to ask your questions to that guest. Anything else before we sign off here?
No, I think we touched on everything. I'm really excited for the future. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
The future starts now. It was January 29th, and hopefully next year at this time, we're laughing at this production. But
yes, we will be.
We did it. The first episode will be recorded and in the books and up and out there. So we thank you for tuning in. This is Talking Puck. This is the start of something great. This is just the start, as we named it. And hopefully we can look back on this and smile and be super happy. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you to all of our followers. Make sure to follow our social media links that we're going to pop up on the screen right now for you. And until 2 weeks, we'll see you next time on Talking Puck. I'm Alec. He's Brock. Thanks for tuning in, and cheers.
See ya.